It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people, and everybody accepted everybody.
Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets. This is a really exciting day because we have this series that we want to do called Investor Stories. And it's a little bit of a departure from when we're talking very specific things about Arizona markets or a specific property. And we're going to start this Investor Stories because really, our investors make up the foundation of us here at Neighborhood Ventures. And so to get to know our investors a little bit more, to have other investors listen to their stories, I feel like it's going to be really helpful. Today, I'm sitting with Dan Welsh. Hi, Dan.
Hi, how are you?
We're so happy to have you.
Thank
And my first introduction to Dan was, I think, at the Wilson Open House is the first time I met you.
Right.
And immediately, you're just so warm and so engaging that, and I think we actually joked at the time that we needed some kind of a pin or some kind of an award ceremony,
Right.
which I typically need an award ceremony, not just a pin, for anything I do that I feel like is good. But we are sitting here with him, and I'm just going to break the ice a little bit. And I'm going to ask, what is your favorite restaurant in the Valley?
In the Valley, that's pretty easy for me to answer. A Mastro Steakhouse.
Oh,
That's my favorite.
Mm.
I'll do a shout out to my friend who is opening a Angry Crab Shack in Scottsdale off of Indian Bend, and that's supposed to open in about a week.
I
So,
love Angry
yeah.
Crab.
Yeah, that's fun. That's
It
a
is
fun
fun.
dinner.
Yeah, it's not really like a first date situation
Yeah.
because you're like,
Yeah.
you're just really getting into it. And, that's pretty much me at every
Yeah.
meal, but I'm never really prime time ready for that first date.
It's a different way to dine.
It is.
And it's very good.
It's very good, but I have to say Mastro's is an excellent
Yeah.
answer.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
not that you need my approval,
Yeah.
but I think most of the people in the Valley would be nodding their
Yeah.
head yes.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic.
Truly my favorite.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I like to cheat a little bit and just go get like a lobster bisque, and then I dip like every part of the bread bowl into the bisque, so it kind of like eats like a meal.
Yeah,
My waitress
right.
is always like, "Nice,
Yeah,
real nice.
yeah.
Do you need anything else?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm full."
Another glass of water?
Yeah, it is like that. Okay, so we want to know, what's your background educationally, professionally? Like, what's sort of the structure for you in your background?
My background is from Indiana.
Okay.
That's where I was born and raised. Small town called Goshen, Indiana is what I consider hometown. I was born in South Bend, and we moved when I was in fourth grade, I believe, to Goshen, Indiana. And went to school there, high school, went to college at Ball State University, which is in Muncie, Indiana. And from there, I went into the RV business, which is a very, Goshen, Indiana is in Elkhart County, which is the RV capital of the world. So,
Did not know that.
yes, all kinds of RV boats, travel trailers, motor homes. And I started in that business out of college, and then expanded into van conversions, which you're too young to know, but back
That sounds
prior to
wonderful.
yes, back in the late 70s and 80s, van conversions were a very popular mode. I mean, that was before the Suburbans and Blazers and Tahoes
Right.
became so popular. And so it was a very good business, and I was in that in different companies for most of my career until 2000. And then I started a housing business out here and developing land and building semi-custom homes.
Wow.
And so I did that until the crash of
Sure.
2008-9, and I hung on till about 2012, and then just kind of been retired since then. And that's where our situation here interested me. I've invested in different projects and things, and been successful in some and not so much in others. So
Have you always been interested in investing?
Yes.
That whole mindset?
Yes.
Okay.
A little side story. When I was in 7th, 8th grade, I set a goal to have $10,000 in the bank by the time I graduated high school. Now, this is in the 70s, so
That's amazing.
10,000 was a lot of money back then when you're mowing yards for $1 a piece,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, I can see how that might take a minute.
So I was mowing yards, I was shoveling snow, I worked for my dad, and the bottom line is I made my goal before I graduated high school and had a little over $10,000 in the bank. And so
That's amazing.
I've always been investing in some way. I had a coin collection and, just hoping to do the right thing. And, some of them panned out and some of them didn't. So,
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, that's actually really impressive. Not that you need my approval, but you've got it now.
yeah.
And I think that it goes back to something that Jameson and I talk a lot about, especially on this, that there's something called an investor mindset. And it sounds like you've had that for most of your life. Do you feel like that came from one of your parents, or was it a mentor, or was it just something that you were always interested in?
My parents were very conservative. We were middle class. We never were without anything. But to buy and sell stocks was not something my parents had the, what do I want to say here?
Almost like the bandwidth to
Yeah,
do?
right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just was too risky for them. And maybe that's what pushed me into some of the investments I did. And I took some high risk situations through my life that I knew my mom or dad would never have, thought about. So
Right.
where I learned it from, I just internally, it was just an internal thing, nothing, no one person. And I mean, that was in the old days when you buy stock and you wouldn't know till the next day whether you made money or not.
Right.
It's just
Whereas
amazing.
now you know by the second.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a big difference.
Yes.
And so I love this story. What was your first exposure to neighborhood ventures?
That was in August of 2018. And May of 2018. I read about it in the article in the Arizona Republic about Governor Ducey signing this crowdfunding law.
Right.
And it interested me. So I took the website information and whatever else was in their phone number, what have you.
Yeah.
And I applied to get in on the Wilson project. And Jameson called me like the next day and he said, "Hey, thank you for your, subscription, but we have sold out the program and there's nothing left." And I said, "Oh, geez." I said, "Well, I'm interested going forward." Next day he called me and he said, "Somebody dropped out. Would you
Yeah.
like in?" And I just felt like
That's it.
this is a positive. And so that was the first time I got in May of 2018 on the Venture by Wilson project.
Yeah.
And followed that all the way through.
The venture on Wilson, now looking back, of course, it's like, of course, it's a great annual return, and there's a lot of good things about it that seem more intuitive now that we are on our 8th, 9th, 10th project. But you were one of the very first. I mean, it was sort of an unproven. We were an unproven company.
Right.
What was it that made you feel like they're worth taking a risk on? Like, was it the property or was it the people? Do you remember how you felt about that?
I would, yes, I do, because I had friends that questioned my decision, and it was, I would say the return is what attracted me to the project. The 12% return, and at the time the banks were paying 0.5% on the savings, and I thought this is it's backed by real estate and it's a good thing, and that was long before prices were going crazy like they are now. But it was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people. Yourself and Jameson
Thank
and
you.
John, and this was before Colby was here, and
Yeah.
it just had a great open relationship, and everybody accepted everybody, and we're in this together. And so truly it has continued and I've been on every project since
Every single project.
all 10.
Okay, now you do need an award ceremony.
Yes, well, we talked about that, but
No, I would like to have it at Mastro's.
yes, that sounds good to me.
And I'm going to order more than the bisque.
Yeah, I like table number 212. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, but
Are you talking about at Mastro's?
yes,
You have
yes,
a favorite table?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
So.
Okay. I feel like I am on the second tier of fandom now at Mastro's. But yeah, we should have our award ceremony there.
Done.
Because you were not only willing to take the risk, which I have a friend who says no risk it, no biscuit, which I still don't really know what that means. But you also continued going through before Wilson actually sold,
right?
Which I find interesting. I mean,
right.
I feel like that's a huge vote of confidence, not only for the quality assets that we get, but also that you continue to believe in what we promoted and who we were and what our skill sets were, and it all still rang true to you. But was there ever a point that you were like, I'm going to hold off on this project and I'm going to wait and see what the end result of Wilson is going to be?
No, there never was. The only time I hesitated at all was I'm trying to see, we're in September, earlier this year when we had like 4 projects selling and buying in a matter of a week. I lost track of what we owned and what we sold and what we bought. And it was like, hey, this is starting to get out of hand. But that was just short-lived. That was about a 4-week period. That was, well, as you know, you lived it.
I remember
it was crazy.
Exactly what you're talking about. So you did mention that you have folders for each project.
Yes.
And part of the reason is because you're just very organized.
Yeah,
and I'm always in awe of things like that. But also you have it structured in a way, we allow people can use retirement funds to invest here, but they can also use personal funds.
Right.
And so you said you have kind of a combination of the two.
Yes.
And so you like to keep those folders so that everything stays, because now you have so many of them that you want to make sure that that's kept right in line.
Right. Well, the dividends come in, or the distributions, I keep track of, make sure. And there's never been a problem. One time, one of the projects that was in the IRA got the distribution paid to my outside IRA.
Right.
So that we had to fix that, which was simple turnaround. But because that IRA has such strict rules, I really
you have to watch it.
Yes.
Don't want to blow that up.
Right. Exactly.
So when you call on something like that, have you experienced it to be fairly simple and easy? Do you get quick responses? I mean, I know this, and it can actually be exactly what it was like. It doesn't even have to be like, oh, you guys were perfect.
Yeah.
It's like when you call to make some of those changes or to interact sort of on the admin side.
Yes.
What's that like?
Well, first you have to wake Heidi up. When she answers the phone, you woke her up from a nap. It's, I'm gonna pay that. But no, seriously, I worked with Heidi on that one situation I've talked about, and it was smooth as. She's great.
Yeah.
She's great. She's real. I mean that seriously. I really like what Heidi can get done, and when it comes to banks and transfer funds and things like that, there's a lot going on. I mean, I'm one of a lot of investors, and so I've had nothing but good experiences from everybody.
Well, that's so good. I love to hear that. When we started this whole thing, of course, it took a substantial amount of time. I think. Do you remember how long it took to fund Wilson to raise the money? I want to say it was 9 months.
I would say 6 months probably. I ended up paying in on May 31st of 2018, and so it was probably a 6-month period there. Yeah.
And now, of course, as you've been with us throughout all of our projects, there's some that have sold or have funded in a matter of days.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
And it's always gratifying, of course, when that happens. But it just means that we, here on the admin side, which I'm less involved with, but I see it happening every day, is that we are really handling so many investors. And I know John and Jameson get comments from people all the time like, why would you do that?
Yeah, right.
Why not just take 5 high net worth individuals and do the same thing and make the same amount of money? And we really wanted to do something different here. And it's John and Jameson's vision, and we're all happy to help execute that. But I love that it appealed to you because you've had a lot of experience. I mean, you've done the stocks and you've done the your own real estate.
Yes.
And so I think it's really gratifying that this has worked for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It came around at a perfect time. I mean, when I was out of the housing business, the house building business, and kind of looking for something to do, timing was perfect, and I'm committed. I mean, I've proven myself, and I like the relationship we have, and I have with everybody that works here. And one feeling, I mean, I'm talking for, I think, all investors, the transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect, in my opinion. I mean, I look forward to the weekly or monthly updates and videos, and so I'm sold.
Oh, well, good.
When is Project 11 coming in?
I don't know. We, Country Club is our biggest project so far. That with the biggest raise. Certainly, it's been a little bit more on the intensive side for myself, just because we're doing that short-term Airbnb model until we get the zoning, because we want to make sure that cash flow, that we're not just waiting 6 months.
Right.
And so to sort of problem solve on how to do that economically, how to do it, on time, on budget, all of our little catchphrases, which is so important, because the model breaks down if we don't apply, if we're not really diligent about keeping those as very firm. There's just not a lot of wiggle room. And so this one has been a lot more. I've been more hands-on, and it's been gratifying because it's going really well. I was just there this morning, and we, I think, have until we're kind of backfilling it. People can still invest in it up until we hit our target raise, but people can still invest. I think up until November, maybe December, and so it's going well. So my last question to you is, who would you rather go to dinner with, John or Jameson? And you can be honest.
Well, if it's Mastro's, just you and I would be fine, as long as you have a company credit card with you.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think that should be part of my company expense. I mean, we could justify to our investors many Mastro's dinners. I'm sure they would just love to see that on the balance sheet. Yeah. But the way I do it, I get out of there like under $50.
Yeah, Jameson he's a guy I can have fun with.
Jameson's your bro. It's okay. You can say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've got the number for Mastro's in my phone, so I'll share that with you. And
Table 212.
Yes,
I'll just start
right.
booking it I'll start booking it every night. You'll be like, who has my table?
Yes.
I bet that's that Lady Rocky.
Yeah, it's getting the bread and water. So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and for being such a loyal investor. We just love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys too. Everybody. Even let Heidi know I was just kidding about her. So.
I'll let her know.
Okay.
We're pleased to announce our latest project, Venture on Country Club, is our first project open to investors nationwide, which means that your friends and family can now invest in Neighborhood Ventures projects. It's very simple. Go to smallchange.co, create an account, start investing, and enjoy the benefits of Arizona's booming real estate market.